Welcome to A Slice with Dice, a podcast exploring the ideas, pressures, and possibilities shaping how we learn, lead, and grow. I'm Corey Alderdice. For over 20 years, my work has lived at the intersection of gifted education, leadership development, and school culture, supporting students as they find their strengths, educators as they stretch their thinking, and schools as they build paths that expand opportunity. Ready to dive in? Here's this week's Slice. There's a lot of talk in leadership circles about managing capital, social capital, political capital, and even emotional capital. A while back, I shared a reflection on how leaders have what I called an invisible bank account, or that reservoir of goodwill and trust you start with when you step into a leadership role. Over time, you make withdrawals through the hard decisions and the unpopular calls, and only rarely do the deposits fully replace what you spend. And that account in many ways defines the shelf life of a leader. When the balance runs low, influence starts to fade, even if the intentions are still good and the mission remains strong. But there's another account that leaders too often ignore. It's not public. It's not measured in approval ratings or performance metrics. It doesn't show up on an annual evaluation or in a board report. I like to think of it as your personal capital reserve, or what you might call your second balance sheet. If your leadership account is the checking account, full of daily transactions, deposits, and withdrawals, then this second one is the savings account you keep for yourself. It's the reserve that sustains you, not the institution. It's what allows you to keep showing up, thinking clearly, and leading well, even when the day-to-day account runs thin. Every good institution understands the importance of maintaining reserves. You don't spend every dollar that comes in. You set something aside for downturns, for new opportunities, for the unexpected. The same is true for people. Leaders need a reserve that isn't constantly in circulation, something protected, accumulated slowly, and drawn upon only when truly necessary. The problem is leadership has a way of convincing us that everything belongs to the mission. Every hour, every ounce of energy, every emotional investment. But over time, that mindset creates a dangerous imbalance. You end up covering professional overdrafts with personal savings, drawing on time meant for your family, patience meant for your friends, energy meant for yourself. And when you do that long enough, your second balance sheet starts to bleed red ink. So what builds up the personal capital reserve? Well, it's not grand gestures or extravagant retreats. It's the quiet, ordinary deposits made over time. Dinner with your family, laughter with friends, a walk that doesn't end in a work call, a weekend where you actually unplug. It's time spent with people who see you rather than your title. This account grows through presence, not performance. It grows also, I think, through perspective. Having a healthy reserve doesn't mean detachment or indifference. It means remembering that your worth isn't defined by the latest decision, headline, or setback. Leaders who maintain that separation, who know that their personal identity doesn't live or die with the institution, lead with more steadiness and grace. Now, it's worth saying that maintaining a personal capital reserve isn't selfish. It's responsible stewardship. Because when your reserve runs low, your decision-making suffers. Your empathy fades. You stop listening as carefully. You lose the margin to handle conflict with clarity. And in other words, you stop being the kind of leader your organization most needs. That's why the second balance sheet matters so much. It's not a side account. It's the one that keeps the other functioning. Now, of course, protecting the reserve requires boundaries, which can be hard for people in leadership. Saying no to more than one evening meeting, protecting a morning walk, letting an email wait until tomorrow. I get it. It feels indulgent at first, maybe even responsible. But that's the discipline of leadership over the long haul. recognizing that sustainability is actually a part of the job. Because the truth is, leaders can't invest in others if they've depleted everything they have to give. And here's the thing about reserves. They grow best through consistency, not windfalls. Just like financial savings, small, steady deposits matter more than one occasional big one. 15 quiet minutes at home with your phone in your hand does more to replenish your balance than a week-long vacation you're too stressed to enjoy. The goal isn't to build a fortress around yourself, it's to maintain enough capacity to stay grounded when the next crisis hits, because guess what? It will. Leadership guarantees volatility. The difference between those who endure and those who burn out often comes down to the strength of that hidden reserve. So when you think about your own second balance sheet, ask yourself a few simple questions. What are the assets I've been neglecting? Where am I overdrawn? Who are the people or practices that actually add to my account, not just drain it? And maybe most importantly, what am I protecting for the long term? Every leader has a public ledger. The budgets, the goals, the visual measures of success. But it's the second one, the quiet one, that determines how long you can actually sustain the work. The personal capital reserve isn't about avoiding responsibility. It's about ensuring that you can meet it with integrity, clarity, and humanity. So yes, I still think leadership is a declining balance, but it doesn't have to lead to depletion. Not if you're intentional about building reserves that no one else can touch. Your second balance sheet doesn't exist to make you richer. It exists to keep you whole. And that may be the most important form of capital any leader ever manages. A Slice with Dice is a production of Aldercube. Thanks for making time to reflect with me. If you're finding value in these episodes, I hope you'll subscribe and help spread the word. Until next week, lead boldly, listen closely, and keep pushing forward. I'll see you then.